So it seems like Nintendo is going to continue this ongoing battle they have with game padded mechanics, and it just seems like the situation is getting even more crazier as each day passes by. So I'm pretty sure we all know by now, like, there has been a massive competition between Pal Worlds and Pokemon at this rate. I mean, at this rate, it's kind of hard to ignore these two giants at this point, because Pal World exploded with popularity last year when it first came out in January, and that game has been a direct competition for Nintendo and the Pokemon franchise. I mean, you could compare Call of Duty and Battlefield between those two giants, between the first person shooters, and those games are still trying to compete against each other. And it just seems like now Nintendo is trying to find a way to neutralize their competition, and they're gonna try to do it through any means, no matter what. Whether it be through lawsuits, whether it be through like gamepad and mechanics, you name it. Nintendo hates competition, and they will resort to any means necessary to destroy their competitors, no matter what. So, for those of you who do not know, let me catch you up to speed real quick. A couple months ago, I made a video talking about how Nintendo has been trying to patent the game mechanic where you ride animals, and the fact that Pad World had this mechanic, Nintendo got butthurt and they're like, oh hey, they innovated in a way we did not. So we're gonna patent this animal riding mechanic so that way we can be the only company that has animal riding mechanics. But yet, I also pointed out several game comparisons in the past that also had this mechanic, with games like Monster Hunter and games like Elden Ring, for example. But now, Nintendo is trying to patent yet another gaming mechanic, and they're going to try to use this not only against Pal Worlds, but they're also going to use this against the rest of the gaming industry. So now they're trying to patent the summoning mechanics. So, what does this mean? So, the easiest way I can explain this is Nintendo's trying to patent the summoning mechanic now. So, let's say if you try to summon a companion to help you fight in battle against a really tough enemy, basically, in a nutshell, if Nintendo patents that mechanic, other companies will be pressured into not doing it, and Nintendo will basically have free reign to do whatever they want with the summoning mechanics. I mean, we've seen summoning mechanics before in games like Dark Souls, in games like World of Warcraft, and games like Diablo, and in games like Final Fantasy. And as a matter of fact, there's even an article that does talk about this situation with Nintendo's patent mechanic with the summoning mechanics. So, if you want to read this article for yourself, I will leave a link in the description down below so you folks can go check it out. So, this article comes from GameIndustryBiz.com. I'm going to read it to you folks, and then we will discuss. Nintendo has secured a new patent that protects a common gameplay mechanic where in a game character to summon another sub character to support them in battle. As noted by Games Fray, the United States Patent and Trademark Office granted Nintendo patent number 12403397, whatever that means, on September 2nd, 2025. Submitted in March 2023, the patent application was approved uncontested despite the mechanic already existing in prior games, both within and outside of Nintendo's own portfolio. This means that the use features like those detailed below could be in breach of Nintendo's copyright. And then they list at least 7 big points throughout the article, but I only want to highlight the important parts here. You can move a character in a virtual space. You must be able to summon a character. They call it a sub-character, by which they means it's not a player, but for example, a little monster such as a Pokemon that a player character has at their disposal. This is about summoning the sub-character in place where there already is another character that it will then, when instructed to do so, fight. Okay, so let's talk about this because there's a lot to uncover here. So I do want to try to simplify it and make it easier to understand for some of you folks that may have a hard time understanding. But the easiest way I can explain this is Nintendo is trying to patent the summoning mechanic for the fact that if you try to, let's say, if you're in a tough battle and you use a summon NPC to help you in battle, basically Nintendo's trying to make it so it's like, oh hey, you can't use that summoning mechanic because we created summoning mechanics. We invented that. But like I said already, there have been other games that have used this summoning mechanic as well. Nintendo is trying to patent the idea of summoning creatures into battle and trying to help you fight alongside you. And Nintendo doesn't like how other games, mostly PAL Worlds, is using this mechanic. And basically, that's the whole reason why Nintendo is trying to patent this mechanic. Like, oh, we're going to patent this mechanic so we own this mechanic. No other game companies can use this mechanic. So if you're trying to, let's say, make a summoning mechanic for an indie developer game, chances are there are going to be a lot of stress put on these developers because let's say if Nintendo comes along, they can just file a lawsuit against you because they patent the mechanic and they own that mechanic. So I've done an example like this before when Nintendo was trying to patent horse riding mechanics, like they created that idea or they have that patent mechanic. I talked about this before, but I'm going to bring up another few examples of other games as well. If Nintendo wants to try to file a lawsuit against Pal Worlds for summoning mechanics, then explain this to me. Why doesn't Nintendo file a lawsuit against WayForward for the Shantae games, where in one of the DLCs you play as Risky Boots and you can summon a pirate to help you fight in battle? Why doesn't Nintendo file a lawsuit against Blizzard for the Diablo games, where you play as a necromancer and you can summon undead creatures to fight by your side? Why doesn't Nintendo file a lawsuit against Square Enix for their summoning mechanics, where you get to summon a badass, powerful Aeon to help you fight in battle? Why doesn't Nintendo file a lawsuit against Call of Duty, even, for summoning mechanics? Now, you can summon in this game, with the score streaks or kill streaks, and you could summon like powerful AIs, like elite soldiers or elite robots to help you in battle to kill the enemies. Or you can summon a drone by pulling it out of your back pocket, and you can just put that drone in a certain position to help spot enemies for you, making it easier to track the enemy targets for you. So that way you can get the jump on your enemies and you can have an advantage over your opponents that way and survive longer. It's just stupid the way that Nintendo is trying to go about this simply because they not only hate people having fun with other games, but they absolutely hate competition. And where Nintendo sees people having fun, they see it as competition. Like, oh, hey, people are having fun with this creature catching game, like Digimon, for example, or games like Pal Worlds. So, what does Nintendo do? Sue. They will file a lawsuit because they know for a fact that they can't innovate and they can't handle competition. And if Nintendo sees competition, they will try to destroy their competitors through legal manners in the form of lawsuits because Nintendo refuses to innovate in their games and they refuse to evolve their Pokemon franchise because they rather focus more of their manpower on lawsuits rather than actual game development. And Nintendo hates Pal Worlds. You know why? Because Pocket Pair has done something Nintendo refuses to do. Pocket Pair has evolved the creature catching genre to a whole new level, and they have drastically improved the fundamentals of the genre. And yet, Nintendo does not want anything to change. They refuse to evolve their franchises. They want you to play in an extremely specific way and no other way. At this point, man, this is just getting ridiculous with Nintendo at this point. So, what I'm about to say here may sound a little too extreme, but it feels like at this point, with all these lawsuits and with all of these game patents just to go after PAL Worlds, just so Nintendo can own the creature catching genre, license, or whatever they want to go for, I would argue to say that Nintendo is trying to act like dictators in the gaming industry. And I know how we all feel about that. Nintendo's trying to act like dictators, where, oh, you will play in an extremely specific way and you will play our way or don't play at all. They want you to play in an extremely specific way and no other way. Nintendo wants to own all these patent mechanics. They want to own these game mechanics and patent them down so no other company can try to compete with the creature catching genre. So no other company can compete against Nintendo. This is just a stupid situation unfolding with Nintendo, man. So, with this being said, thank you everyone for watching and for listening. And until next time, I'm talking about Nintendo going after Pal Worlds once again. And I will see you all later.